What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Black Star Podcast. This is your boy Jared. Boy, Jesus fucking Murphy. This is gonna be something that I've been talking about for the past few years, and that is the topic of discussion. So you guys see the title. Title I was talking about was let's see, hold on. Title I was talking about was 400,000 gallons of radioactive water. But then also I changed it to 400,000 gallons of radioactive water and North Korea's new ICBM launch video. So what we gonna do is we gonna show this hunk of shit in 4K, I should say. We gonna talk about this. So shout out to Charles. Shout out to Charles, my brother. You coming through. If y'all have any video ideas, I'm gonna need y'all to start sending them video ideas in, cause this shit's getting crazy. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go to this. Let's watch this bullshit. Yeah. So we have North Korea with the ability to fire intercontinental ballistic missiles. Yeah. This is gonna be a bad day today. So I don't know why is I don't understand what the fuck is going on nowadays. But apparently this was a ploy to strike fear into North Korean enemies. So North Korea, sorry about that. North Korea launched a ICBM test to make sure that rockets work. Sorry about that. So now that the North Koreans have a nuclear, a intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching about 600 nautical miles. So now they have the ability to strike any enemy they have. So yeah, this just went from okay to just Stratcom 1. In my own words, meaning this is some shit that we really need to worry about, but not be of concerned about right now. Now, why am I talking about this specifically? With everything that's been going on, it seems to me that North Korea is starting to gear up for a world war. Meaning they're going to be ready. They're going to be trying to start a world war with the U.S. with their enemies. which is mainly the U.S. They're going to try to start a war with everybody. I don't understand why, but that's they're going to use every tactic that they can in that with their allies. But let's get on to the actual crux of this video. 400,000 gallons of radioactive water has been spilled in Minnesota. Now, let's go back to sharing the screen again. Let's watch this. Oh shit! I'm fucking hold up. Okay.
Some communities have been caught by surprise by a massive radioactive leak from a nuclear plant that they are just now hearing about, even though it was first detected months ago. We are talking 400,000 gallons of contaminated water, and it happened at this plant because of a broken pipe. Now, that leak was found in November of last year, but the public is only finding out about it now. The nuclear plant is owned by the company called Xcel Energy.
Hold up. Let me rephrase. Hold up. Let me rewind this because I'm gonna have to stop, and I'm gonna have to stop and actually do my little 2 cents on this shit.
In Minnesota, some communities have been caught by surprise by a massive radioactive leak from a nuclear plant that they are just now hearing about, even though it was first detected months ago.
Okay, that part right there. How in the hell? And it is not the fault of the community. But how in the hell do you have a contaminated water leak for months and you not find out about it? And how the fuck do you just allow radioactive water to just leak because of a broken pipe? Let's continue.
We are talking 400,000 gallons of contaminated water, and it happened at this plant because of a broken pipe. Now, that leak was found in November of last year, but
November of last year. And right now we're in 2023 in March. Damn near the end of fucking March. And they talking about they had this shit detected months ago. You know what? Let's continue.
the public is only finding out about it now. The nuclear plant is owned by the company called Xcel Energy, and both the company and the state are working to try to clean up the contaminated water.
How do you clean up contaminated water? We've got water that's maybe seeped into the ground, seeped into the soil, seeped into people's water supply. Water is fucking water. How can you clean up 400,000 gallons of fucking contaminated water? How do you clean that up? Explain this to me.
Now, the water is said to contain radioactive tritium, which is a form of hydrogen and can occur in water naturally at extremely small amounts. But per EPA regulations, 20,000 units of tritium can be in drinking water per liter. But the water right now at the plant is in the millions.
20,000 versus millions. So... hold up. They didn't think to literally tell the people that is around this nuclear power plant. They didn't think to tell the people. But they're now just starting to tell people about it, and it's been over 4 months. Let me let the video play.
And here's a look at the location of this plant. It's very important. It is in Monticello, Minnesota, right there along the Mississippi River. Xcel and the state say they are actively working to contain this leak to that plant.
Bingo. That's exactly what the fuck I wanted to see. So let's deconstruct the hell out of this, because this is apparently something crazy as hell that apparently people with their own companies don't have fucking common sense of. So let's deconstruct this for a minute here. So you have a nuclear power plant that is sitting on the Mississippi River. Okay. They've estimated 400,000 gallons of water. Okay. That river right there, that is a very large river. And that river comes from here and then goes all the way to here. So there's got to be at least 400,000 gallons of water right there. At least. Maybe even 200,000 gallons of water. Now we're talking about over a 4-month period. That is more than 400,000 gallons of water, contaminated water. That over a 4-month period, you can't tell me that a simple pipe leak led to 400,000 gallons of leak of radioactive water being in the Mississippi River. It's more than that. They're minimizing the situation. It's got to be over 1 million gallons of water that was contaminated by that shit. You can't tell me that 400,000 gallons of water. And we're talking about a nuclear power plant. A nuclear power plant uses at least 100,000 gallons of water to cool down the fuel rods. And we're not talking about regular fuel. We're not talking about fuel. We're talking about uranium fuel rods. You can't tell me. This is some bullshit. Let's continue.
Plant property, while state officials say the leak did not contaminate the Mississippi River or drinking water sources and people are safe. But we want to bring in NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa to break it all down for us. Maggie, brief.
Hold up. Let's read this. Hold up. So, Xcel Energy Monticello power plant tritium leak. Hold up. Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, in conclusion with the Minnesota Department of Health, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources is monitoring Xcel Energy's efforts to clean up the release of contaminated water. The leak has been stopped and has not reached the Mississippi River or contaminated drinking water sources. How do you know? It's water. It's not like it's oil where you can leave where it literally tracks. This is water. Water evaporates. Water seeps into the ground. Water seeps into concrete. Water seeps into every damn thing. How in the hell can you tell us that it did not reach contaminated, did not reach the Mississippi River or contaminated drinking water? How can you tell us that? It seeps through concrete. It's water. It's not oil. This goofy ass shit, bro. This is what I'm talking about. The company reported about 400,000 gallons of water contaminated with tritium leaked from a water pipe running between the two. My point! This some bullshit. The company reported about 400,000 gallons of water containing tritium leaked from a pipe running between two buildings at the Monticello facility. Between two buildings. That's why I said they don't know how much water leaked out, where the water got into. We don't know This is why I said they're minimizing the situation as a whole, because this isn't oil. This is water. The leak was stopped, but the company monitored the underground water, the groundwater plume through 24 wells. 24 wells? An estimated 20% of tritium has been recovered through extraction wells and contaminated water continues to be pumped from the groundwater. You goddamn lying sons of bitches. This is exactly why I said they don't know. Underwater wells, extraction wells, hold up. Underwater plume, basically an underwater cavern. The pumped water is currently being stored and some is being reused on site. Really? Really? Minimization of the situation, of the severity of the situation. The leak was stopped. Okay, so what? 400,000 gallons of water contained tritium. Leak was from a water pipe but running between two buildings at its monochannel plant. Excuse me, but I got to put this out there. What is the temperature in Minnesota right now? Let me see. Minnesota. Hold up. Well, how you spell Monticello? Okay, Monticello. Minnesota temperature. It is 26 degrees. Hold up. Let's go back over. Let's go back. Okay. So let me do a little bit of research here because I'm apparently I'm missing something here because this is some goofy ass shit that people hold up. It's some goofy ass shit that people don't really look at. So 30-day forecast. Okay, let's go to that monthly forecast. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the fucking November. Yeah, we're gonna go back to no fucking November because apparently this goofy ass shit don't fucking make sense to me. So, okay. Come on, Wi-Fi, stop fucking up. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm pulling up. What the fuck? Hold up. Hold on, let me pull this shit up on my fucking computer because apparently my fucking phone's retarded right now. Bingo, here we go. Hold up. Okay, so this is February. Okay, so we're gonna start in November. So November, the highest that it got was 65, and that was at the start of the month. So the lowest that it got was 17 degrees, and that was in December. So the lowest it got in November was 22 degrees, and that was on the 19th. Okay. Okay, here we go. Then the worst, the coldest it got in December was -4 degrees. And the highest it got in December was 37 degrees, and it was on the 2nd, and it was on the 28th of December. Okay, so here we go. So February, happy birthday to me. The lowest it got was -1 degrees, and that was on the 30th. Wait, that was January. Oh damn, I'm fucking up. That's January. So January, the coldest it got was -1. The highest it got was 39 degrees, and that was on the 15th. February, happy birthday to me, Friday. The coldest it got was 2 degrees. And that was on my birthday, February 3rd. Happy birthday to me, motherfucker. And the highest it got was 42 degrees. So, relatively, it was below 45 degrees throughout this entire 4-month period. So, let's go to March. The highest, what's today's date? 19th? So, I can't even count. So, right now, in Minnesota, the highest right now is at 36 degrees. The lowest has been is 29 degrees. No, 12 degrees. God damn. Fuck that. So 12 degrees. Here's why I'm looking at this. So throughout this entire 4-month span, it's never got above 40 to 45 degrees. Meaning the water in those pipes was already cold. Then it's coming off of a power plant, so it's got to be heated water. It's got to be warm water. So you got warm water going up against cold pipe. Water in those pipes, I'm presuming, is not insulated. So the pipes are going to snap and it's going to cause the leak. Now, if you detected that leak in November, I'm pretty much going to say it was probably when it was 2 degrees or -1 degrees when that pipe snapped. Because, like Tyson Neal said, water in the pipe can't freeze and it can't freeze. Water is constantly moving through a pipe and it can't freeze. So you have the frigid temperatures of outside going up against water that's holding at around 29, 28 degrees and it's not freezing. It's gonna cause that pipe to go into stress. Why wasn't there mandatory? Why isn't there mandatory watch and check verification of each pipe? Why isn't there a mandatory person mandated to check each pipe around the facility to make sure there are no punctures, especially at a nuclear site? Why in the fuck has that not ever been introduced? And again, this is the shit I was talking about. We need to leave nuclear power, such as uranium power plants, behind in the past, because that shit's gonna cause a new. Look at what happened. Look at what happened in Japan a few years ago when the nuclear plant went up in smoke and blew the hell up. You had a natural disaster on hand. Look at Chernobyl. Look at all these other different nuclear power incidences where the power plant blew the fuck up. Let's continue.
But we want to bring in NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa to break it all down for us. Maggie, bring us up to speed here. The fact that this leak happened in November of last year and people are just finding out about it right now seems pretty alarming. What do we know about the nature of this leak?
Yeah, it's so jarring for people in that area, Gotti, as you know. So we'll just start with kind of when specifically, since that's a huge part of this headline. This was discovered, Excel says, on November 22nd. So think back, that's a couple days before Thanksgiving. And the company says it immediately took what they called swift action to contain this contaminated water to the plant site, which again is in Monticello, Minnesota. That's just northwest, about 40 minutes northwest of Minneapolis. They also say they told the state immediately that day, the state of Minnesota confirming that they got notification.
Hold up, wait a minute. Isn't that a river right there? Wait a minute.
They say in late November.
That's a fucking river right there.
The state of Minnesota.
That is a fucking river. Hold up.
Of Minneapolis. They also say they told the state immediately
river.
that day, the state of Minnesota confirming that they got notification. They say in late November, and both the state and confirming that they got Minneapolis. They also say they told Minnesota, that's just northwest, about 40 minutes northwest of Minneapolis. They also say they told the state immediately that day.
That's a fucking river. Hold up. Let's go to geography. Let's go to maps right quick. Hold up. Let's go to maps. I need to actually see the fucking layout of this fucking. Why am I going to Lexus Greenville? Nuclear power plant. Okay. Let's go to maps. Oh, what do you goddamn know? Didn't I say it was a river? Didn't I motherfucking say it was a river? You have a water leak. Okay. So you have a water leak. Wait. Oh, damn. Oops. I'll go back to the video. So you have a water leak now. You have a water leak. That water is going to go to the lowest point. And it's going to end up in the river right here. You're on the edge of a river. I'm pretty sure you're pulling in fresh water from this river to cool down your reactor core. Then you release the non-contaminated water back into the river. You have a pipe that bursts. And the water is contained, according to Excel. It is contained to the site. You cannot contain water unless it's in a isolated container. You have water that bursts out of a pipe that you realize on that day, and you talk about 400,000 gallons of water. If one drop of tritium contaminated water hits that river gets contaminated with tritium. And then, look at this. The river expands. And I'm pretty sure I'm going the wrong fucking way. Let's go back to Monticello. You go down here and you go all the way over here. Going down here to where it gets to Dayton. Then you go all the way down here. Minneapolis. One drop. Hell, even a gallon of tritium contaminated water getting into this river. It contaminates the entire river and drinking water around the river. Contaminates the life in that river. And then you have a environmental issue. How am I not the only one seeing this? Let's go back to the fucking. The fuck? These weird ass fucking commercials.
In Minnesota, some communities have been caught.
It immediately took what they called swift action to contain this contaminated water to the plant site, which again is in Monticello, Minnesota. That's just northwest, about 40 minutes northwest of Minneapolis. They also say they told the state immediately that day, the state of Minnesota confirming that they got notification. They say in late November, and both the state and the company, all the agencies involved say at this point, there is no evidence to show that drinking water in that area has been contaminated. But, Gotti, I got to be real with you. Also, no one is saying why the public wasn't notified as soon as this was discovered, which, again, as you said, is a key question because this is so alarming for people to hear about now. Gotti.
And Maggie, we know that the leak has been stopped, or that's what they're saying, and authorities are telling people not to worry because there is no danger. But the cleanup is still happening, right? How contaminated are we talking? We were just showing that video from the helicopter there. You can see that the plant is very big. The town of Monticello seems to be a little ways off, but the plant seems to be right there on the river.
Right, right. Well, basically what they've told us is that at least to a layman, this seems like a painstakingly slow process. Again, we talked about 400,000 gallons of this severely contaminated water. Excel says it is
400,000 gallons of water plus the other several million gallons of water that was contaminated along with the runoff in that situation. Let alone, you got to think about rain, you got to think about snow, you got to think about ice, you got to think about humidity in the air, freezing and causing dew. You got to think about all of that stuff when it comes to radioactive water and runoff. And then also you got to think about like this too. The ground absorbs water. Water gets to the ground, and the ground is like a natural filtration for water. So you're going to obviously have a situation where water gets into dirt, water gets into the concrete. Concrete doesn't contain water. If you have a pipe burst and you have concrete around that water is going to shoot through that concrete. Water seeps in the concrete through the different holes and different spots where the concrete isn't sealed all the way through. And we're talking about 400,000 gallons of water. I just want to emphasize 400,000 gallons of water that was produced by the site on top of what got into the river. Okay. I rest my fucking case.
Ben, I want to get their quote right. Pumping, storing, treating, and reusing the contaminated water while pumping, storing, treating.
How do you trade contaminated water, might I ask? Pumping, storing, trading, and reusing water. Okay, reusing the contaminated water. You need fresh water to run those you need fresh water for those damn reactors. What are you talking about? And wait a minute, isn't there a special formula that, hold up. From what I remember, there's a specialized formula that of water that nuclear power plants are supposed to use to keep from using fresh water. There's a special type of water that they have that contains heat from nuclear power plants. There's a specialized water that they use, and that water is used in the actual reactor core itself. I think that's around 50 to 60,000 gallons of water. I think. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I think that's what it is. But let's get into it. Hold up.
and reusing the contaminated water while monitoring nearby wells to make sure this isn't leaking into drinking water. But they point this out, and this is important. They say recovering all of this tritium that leaked, and again, 400,000 plus gallons of water, recovering all of that will take about the next year. Gotti.
Wow. And
the next year? So over the next year, you're talking about 400,000 gallons of water. That the amount of time that it's going to take to actually get all the tritium out of the water is going to be a while. It's going to be at least 5 years before they can get every drop of it.
Here's why. You got to think about water. You got to think about water evaporating, condensing, rain. You got to think about all that stuff. That spreads it out even further. So you got this one thing, and then you got to worry about, then if it got into the river, you got to think about that. Where the river goes, you got to think about it like that. It's gonna be a countrywide. It's gonna be countrywide experiment trying to get all this tritium back because of this one incident. Think about it like this: an oil spill, like off the Gulf of Mexico. It got everywhere. That's the same situation with this.
one more question. The plant, I know, is pretty old. It was built in the 1970s, 1971. Is that a concern here?
You know, it's something that's been mentioned. The company has yet to say whether it's a concern. The state has yet to nail that down as well. But basically what it means, if nothing else, is that Xcel Energy has spent reportedly tens of millions of dollars updating the infrastructure of this plant, updating its testing systems, including installing what they called a new groundwater monitoring program, an advanced program in 2007 that they called updating. Nothing else to say. What
concern here? It was built in the 1970s, 1971.
So, hold up. This keeps getting better and better. So, this plant was built in 1970 to 1971. So, we're talking roughly 51 to 53 years of producing power. So, you got to think about, they've spent tens of millions of dollars trying to upgrade this one facility. So, let's talk about this. Tens of millions of dollars upon working on trying to improve the infrastructure, improve the different systems and safeguards of the power plant. A key part of that is your cooling system. With advancements in technology, you got to think. So I'm going to just put out this, and I'm not sure if this is true, but if those pipes are more than 50 years old, you can think of the amount of stress that those pipes have endured. So you're talking about 50 plus year piping, plus the constant frigid temperatures of Minnesota. You're going to end up with a situation like this if you weren't properly making sure the power plant was up to code, up to date, and up to date with the latest innovations in metals and materials. You're going to have a situation like this. So, to me, it seems like this could have been easily preventable. To me, it just seems like the negligence of the company, because I'm thinking about like this. If I have a uranium core, if I have a uranium core nuclear power plant on this or that I'm operating, that I'm generating power at, and it's more than 50 years old. At 20 years old, I would have started replacing different parts of the facility to make sure the facility remained in compliant code with the latest innovations in technology, making sure everything is up to date so that I don't have a nuclear fallout situation happening with my power plant. I would eliminate any threat, any fault of my own unless a part failed on my facility due to a manufacturing error. I would eliminate those different situational hazards that could come along with that. I would literally build a state of the art plant and make sure that plant stays state of the art to prevent a situation to where my company will be liable. I will be putting people's lives in danger and creating a environmental issue on this magnitude. I would I would keep my business at the forefront. And that's what a lot of these power companies do. They don't look at the situations that they don't look at situational hazards that could happen with an aging power plant. They change out nuclear fuel rods every 10 to 20 years, I believe. Hold up, let me see. How many times is nuclear fuel exchanged?
Here is some information for fuel used in nuclear power plant. According to RAIA, uranium is the most widely used fuel by nuclear power.
Nuclear fuel cycle. How long is nuclear fuel used before exchanging? How long does a nuclear so nuclear fuel typically used in a reactor for 3 to 6 years. About once a year, 25 to 30% of the fuel is unloaded and replaced with fresh fuel. After their useful life of 3 to 6 years, fuel assemblies are removed from reactors. So, that nuclear fuel is used 3 to 6 times, 3 to 6 years before being replaced. Now, check this out. How long until spent nuclear fuel is safe? Spent nuclear fuel stays at a radiation hazard for extended periods of times with half-lives as high as 24,000 years. $24,000. Fuck my life. 24,000 years. Your bones will be fucking sand after 25,000 years. Jesus fuck. And we allow this shit to be on our fucking planet. We allow this shit to be producing power. I have nothing to say on this. Hold up. Let's see something. Let's see this. What is the half-life of tritium? Tritium's half-life is 12.32 years. So yeah, 12 years before this nuclear power plant disaster is over. 12 years. So we're talking, what is it, 2023 now? So 2035, this shit should be solved. Yeah.
Is that a concern here?
You know, it's something that's been mentioned. The company has yet to say whether it's a concern. The state has yet to nail that down as well. But basically what it means, if nothing else, is that Xcel Energy has spent reportedly tens of millions of dollars updating the infrastructure of this plant, updating its testing systems, including installing what they called a new groundwater monitoring program, an advanced program in 2007 that they say was part of an updated requirement at the time. Again, whether that has anything to do really concretely with this broken pipe, meaning whether the
Ma'am, you know damn well it don't have shit to do with a fucking broken pipe. A groundwater detection system that was invented, that was in place in 2007. That's cool and all, but the problem is too the neglect of the facilities piping. That is what this tells me. The piping of this nuclear facility was neglected for decades without being properly checked, without being properly looked after, maintained, and upkept for facility safety and for public safety and for environmental safety. That is what this is telling me. The fact of the matter that I've never seen a story like this happen before tells me something. Means that the nuclear power plant company neglected to keep the plant's facility up to date, up to code, and updated with the latest materials so that the frigid temperatures of Minnesota does not affect the operation of the plant. That is what this is telling me.
really concretely with this broken pipe, meaning whether the age of the plant and all the updates that have been needed over time, whether that has anything to do with or...
Wait, so they knew that there was updates being needed to... They know that there's updates that were needed to the plant, and they what did I just say?
Or caused this leak? That question also at this point yet to be answered. Gotti, but we'll stay on it.
Wow. And just to recap, a radioactive cleanup that could take a year. Maggie, thanks.
It's not going to take a year, bro. You know, damn, if you do some research, it's not going to take a year. I just did a simple Google search on live on YouTube. 12 years, this should be over. 12. Now, that's if they can't find all the tritium particles that were leaked. And then how are you going to contain that tritium isotope? How are you going to contain that? I remain to see this shit.
So much.
Sure.
Okay. Like I said, guys, this shit's just I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Y'all tell me. I'm a 24-year-old, and I'm basically exposing all the shit that I'm seeing right now. Oh, this goofy ass shit, bro. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all want to hear. I don't know. I'm gonna go cry myself to fucking. Oh man, I'm gonna go cry myself. Matter of fact, no, I ain't gonna go cry myself. I'm gonna go damn take me a little drink. This goofy shit. And that's least upon what we really gotta worry about. We got a whole fucking war coming to our damn country because our country doesn't know when to fucking doesn't know when to stop. We're getting into other people's shit. But like, share, subscribe. Thanks, Charles. Hey, Charles, keep giving me that work, bro, because I need it. Keep on sending that work. But I will see you guys on the flip side. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Support the podcast on Spotify.com, which I got to post. I know, don't judge me. I'm going to be working on something today. But like, share, subscribe to the channel. Support the podcast on Spotify.com, and I will see you.